Oh man, what's up, everybody? Woo! Woo! That's Michael Jackson right there. Y'all can tell. Hey, everybody, welcome to the America First Brothers Show. Now, before we get into it again, I know we have not been consistent, and we are trying to do that. Got to understand, Dave's district is the largest. The largest in the United States, and my district is the largest in the United States, the congressional district. We've been just about all over the state. So we do apologize for not putting out. We haven't put out about a week, a month?
Oh, about a month.
We haven't put out a month, and we do apologize about that because this campaign is completely different than recent history because the districts have changed, the lines are bigger, and we spend more time on the road than anything else.
Spend a lot of time on the road.
Yeah, we do.
Average about 3 to 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Campaigning. And so that's one of the reasons why we haven't had the opportunity to get in the studio.
Not counting your other responsibilities as a
pastor. Running a church here in Snowflake as well.
Yeah.
But I think what we're going to do, let you know ahead of time, and probably in about after 2 or 3 weeks, we might be going to podcasts. So when we're in separate parts of the state, we can actually go remote and online and do a podcast.
Yeah.
And so this way we won't be missing any more of these any more of our recordings.
And then it gives you an opportunity to, when you're driving, we can listen to the podcast. That'd be, that's going to be pretty bad if we the only one listening to our own podcast. How many likes? 2.
Dave and Walt.
Doing our own comments.
Well, no. Mr. Beard, there'll be 3. Mr. Beard.
Well, Mr. Beard, he got his earplugs. I don't even think he's listening half the time. Why did he move? Because he was right there now. Why did he move? I don't understand.
He's
mad. You just look at the top of Mr. Beard's head and see that. We should, you know what? That should be our new picture for the page.
Right there?
Just top of his head.
Or get a picture from the bottom of the beard.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he'd like that too much. I don't like it. But we want to thank Mr. Beard for all he does. And listen, the more you guys go and smash that like button, the better ratings we'll get. And then who knows, we may start to do something. You understand what I'm saying? So if you like this, smash the like button. Let's get started.
Let's roll.
We're talking about pro-life today. Dave and I are very pro-life, and a lot has been happening around the country, particularly in California. You've in Maryland. You're going to be talking about Maryland. We're going to be talking about all aspects of the pro-life movement as we fight against these terrible, terrible bills that are coming out of some of these states. So talk to me about Maryland. I see what you got there. Tell me what's going on there.
Well, guys, this is very disturbing. There's a bill right now in Maryland, and what it does is decriminalize infanticide up to 28 days after birth. Now, this bill was proposed by Virginia governor at one time, Ralph Northam, and it didn't pass. But this new bill with Maryland is SB 669. What it says here is the bill would prevent investigations and legal penalties for abortion at any point in the pregnancy and perinatal deaths caused by failure to act, which extend from the 22-week of gestation through to the first 28 days after birth. This is some crazy stuff.
Okay, so let me get this straight. In Maryland, they passed the law that someone, and correct me because I don't want to say the wrong thing. In Maryland, are they saying that they can abort 28 days after, or is it? Because I'm lost on that one.
Well, let me finish it then. Here we go. It says, then this section may not be construed to authorize any form of investigation or penalty for a person terminating or attempting to terminate a person's own pregnancy or experiencing a miscarriage, perinatal death related to failure to act, or stillbirth. Now, that means that the baby who survived an abortion can be allowed to die without care,
Yeah.
and no investigation could be pursued
Yeah.
nor legal penalty applied.
Yeah. So it's if the baby is fighting for up to 28 days,
Yes.
then they can do nothing to save the life of the baby, and then whoever, I guess the doctor, the parent, whoever favors this or this madness, they won't be prosecuted, basically.
That's correct.
So again, as we see the left looking for ways to commit murder on our young, and then exonerated by the law, and all that is murder. All it is it's murder. It's nothing less than murder.
Well, this is happening in the Netherlands too. So it's almost like taking a page from Netherlands. If you have a child that's disabled, or if you have a child that is ill, Netherlands will also allow you to place this child in a room on a cold table and just to lay there and wait for that child to die.
You're a pastor, and as a pastor, not as a soon to be elected official or a parent even. As a pastor, what is that community? What's the conversations in that community about when we read stuff like this in Maryland, California, New York? What's that discussion like for pastors?
Well, the discussion is this. First and foremost, I instruct our church here. We need to be praying for these people.
Yeah.
Praying for Planned Parenthood. Praying for, we don't want to wish ill on anybody, because we don't want to say, well, I wish these people would die too.
Yeah.
But we first start with prayer. Second, we need to be a voice. There's too many people that are silent when it comes to pro-life movements because they're afraid of the blowback from the pro-choice movements and other liberal groups.
And some on our side too.
Some on the Republican side.
Yeah, some on our side. As you remember, I wrote a bill a couple years ago, and I got a lot of blowback from that.
Yes, you did.
And however, I don't really see a lot of narrative to blow back these types of things that we see. I don't see them getting beat up.
No,
and that's, I see that as a problem, because the narrative, all we hear is it's okay, and I'm not saying this. They think it's okay to kill a baby at the end of gestation and let a baby die after the baby was born.
Correct.
And what kind of a parent does that? I mean, really, I wouldn't even call them a parent. You carry the baby for 9 months, and then I know there's got to be some thought process,
or even an attachment, emotional attachment,
and then the person has the baby, and that couple, if it's a couple, they have the baby, and then they say, well, we've been thinking about it for 9 months, and we don't want to have the baby. We'll let the baby die. Well,
here's it's a poor analogy, a sad analogy, but it's almost like having buyer's remorse.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Oh, we don't want this baby because it may have some disabilities, or we don't want this baby because we've changed our mind. We don't want this. And I heard this one. A lady carried a baby for 9 months, or up to the 9 month, had an abortion, late-term abortion. This is in New York. Had a late-term abortion, and she said she didn't want the baby because of the way the world was today, and didn't want the baby to grow up in that world. So you carry the baby for 9 months, and then you decide that the world is kind of screwed up and you don't want to have the baby. I think she was smoking crack.
Well, the world was screwed up before she was impregnated.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Now I want to talk about, they say the my choice, my body, my choice. We know that that's a big deal for some of these liberal pro-choice folks, and I got it. But here's the deal. If a person does not want to have a baby, there are methods out there to where they won't get pregnant. Preventive measures are not to get pregnant, and many of those measures are free. They can go to a clinic and say, and this is for the guy too. They can go to the clinic and get on birth control. They can use a prophylactic. They can use. There are a myriad of things out there where people don't. But then, When they don't do that, they make that decision to not use those things that are readily available, and then they get pregnant, and then they want to say, well, it's my choice. It was your choice before you jumped in the darn bed.
Yeah. Well, you follow up with that, too. What about the man's choice?
Yeah.
What about?
Oh, they take the man out of it.
Yeah, he's out of the picture. And second of all, you're impregnated. You have this child. You're say almost 9 months. This child is formed, ready to come out, but this child has no choice.
No. The child has no choice, and they're going to forego that. And the problem is, too, when they don't consider it a child. They say it's a fetus. It's a fetus all the way until it's born. Let me put you on the clue bus. At 15 weeks, these babies start to feel, sense. They've got a nervous system. They've got bone structures that are being developed. You're trying to tell me that baby does not have a soul at that point? I think I know at conception that's when life starts.
Yes.
Okay, that's when life starts. However, you got these folks that don't want to put 15 weeks or what have you. So let's look at 15 weeks, because in the House we passed that bill that you cannot commit an abortion at the 15th week mark. Okay, so let's use 15 weeks for that. That baby is a baby. It's a human being. It's a person of the human race that God has created. It's protected under the 14th Amendment, equal protection under law. But now you say that it's a fetus, but it's continuing to grow. Even when we are born, we continue to grow.
Yes, we do.
So I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. And, I'm sure some leftist crazy person is going to get on there and say, you stay with my body because I want to kill a baby.
Well, you look right now, the immorality of our country.
Oh, geez.
And it starts in the White House. It does.
Yes, it sure does.
There was a report.
You got to be awake first.
There was a report out, a new report, and I'm reading it right here. A new report shows Planned Parenthood raked in $1.5 billion in taxpayer money in the past 3 years.
$1.5
billion. And if you are a pro-lifer, you believe in saving the unborn, your tax money, my tax money, Representative Walt Blackman's tax money is going to Planned Parenthood.
Now, and that's crazy because what I want to do also when I go to Congress is I want to stop that. No taxpayer-funded dollars. No taxpayer dollars will go to Planned Parenthood because, number one, it's supposed to be a nonprofit, from what I understand.
It is.
Okay. So guess what there, Planned Parenthood? You don't have permission to use my dollars, my tax dollars, to pay for your killings because there's a higher percent of abortions in Planned Parenthood than there are from women just going in there for monthly checkup, for women's health. That's where they make their money.
That's their funding. That's their cash cow.
Okay, and if
maybe not right words to say that.
Well, yeah, but so if it's not, and I've heard, no, that's not all we do. Then don't do any abortions. Just do women's health. Do women's health.
Well, in Lubbock, Texas, just last year, Lubbock, Texas passed an ordinance where Lubbock, Texas is a sanctuary city for the unborn.
Yeah, and talk about how you're going to do that.
Well, Planned Parenthood in Lubbock, Texas took the city to court. It went to, I believe it went to the state Supreme Court, and Lubbock, Texas won. Planned Parenthood is no longer operating in Lubbock, Texas. That was as of last year. Now, I don't know if it's reopened. But again, why did they close if they're not just depending on abortion, the funding of abortion?
Imagine that. You close your doors. You close your doors because it's a money machine that kills human beings that are babies, not fetuses. They are killing human beings.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand this too. We've talked with a lot of women over the years, especially being in ministry. There is a long-term effect, emotional effect on a woman. They think when they go through an abortion, that is it. It is over. It is not over. There have been women that have been damaged. There have been women that have hemorrhaged and had a paramedics called to a clinic to take them to a hospital to save their lives. But then emotionally, the scars emotionally, I gave up my child. You know, especially after you get married later on and you have a baby, and then you start thinking about what you could have had. Was it a boy? Was it a girl? What would I have named her? What would she be doing now? What would he be doing now? There's an emotional effect of abortion, and it is long term.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. The part you did say something that kind of ring a bell with me. And this pertains to those folks that go 8, 9, 7 months and then they kill the baby. They kill the baby. They start to hemorrhage, and they call the ambulance and want a doctor to save their life.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yeah.
You know, you kill a human being, but you expect a doctor to come out and save you after you've taken a human being's life. And the only I say spiritual being can take a life is God. That's it. Not us. We don't have that right.
No, we don't.
We don't have the right to take what God has created and discard it. So I have no type of patience for people, particularly those ones who carry it to gestation just to turn around and kill it.
Yeah. Well, Washington, the state of Washington, the governor there, Inslee, he signs Kill More Babies bill. This is what they're calling it.
Oh, my gosh.
And earlier this week, the Idaho legislature passed a bill similar to the Texas heartbeat law bill, and that bans abortions on unborn babies with beating hearts and allows private citizens to sue abortionists who violate the ban. Inslee says this: "We know this bill is necessary because this is we know this bill is necessary because this is a perilous time for the ability of people to have the freedom of choice that they have enjoyed for decades." Speaking of Washington's bill, he says, "To the citizens of Idaho," he's in Washington. The governor is calling to the citizens of Idaho: If Idaho will not stand up for your constitutional rights, we will. You can abort here in Washington.
Oh, my goodness. Just cross the state line so you can go commit murder.
Well, California did the same thing. They're trying to make California a sanctuary state for abortions.
So they can go in, they can just go into California. And I'm gonna tell you folks, I don't call it abortion. I refuse to call it abortion. It is murder. It is nothing more than diabolical pre-planned murder. And in the criminal statutes, that is considered a crime.
Now, I'm not certain about this, and I know you would be. Does the state of Arizona pay money towards Planned Parenthood?
No, but the taxpayer dollars do. Okay, so the Arizona General Fund, there is no money going from the General Fund to Planned Parenthood. However, when you pay state taxes, because of the bill, with the federal bill that's out there, some state tax dollars will go to generate that because it's listed as a 501c. So it's a situation where in DC we need to just do a clean cut. No taxpayer dollars go to Planned Parenthood at all. And that's what I want to do because that cleans it up. That really cleaned $1.5 billion of taxpayer funds over the last 3 years. 3 years?
3 years.
Imagine for the past 10 years. Oh, my gosh. So I want to talk about a little bit. There's a bill that came out of California. It is the 7-day after birth abortion. Okay, so there are some misconceptions in that. So it is AB 2223. And it came out of one of the committees in the California Assembly, and it's probably healthcare committee that it came out of. And what was led to believe is that this bill allows a person to kill a baby up to 7 days after the baby is born. That is incorrect. What it does is protect those folks that are committing murder, abortion, all the way up to infanticide. So they had no law that protected those folks that carried through the full gestation and then to have the abortion. They didn't have a law to protect them. This law does that. It protects them, which again Californians are writing a law to protect murderers. And it makes sense because they did away with their freaking bail.
Crazy.
You know, and you know, my deal is I'm a lawmaker, and you know, and when you write bills or people come to you with ideals for legislation, you have to ponder that and you think about it, or I pray about it. Is it the right thing to do? Who's it going to hurt? Is it constitutional? The whole gambit. Anyone who writes these pro-choice bills, I wonder what's going on in their head. Really.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, my first thought, and I could be wrong, my first thought is, whose pocket are they in?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in somebody's pocket. They're in somebody's pocket, or they're just, well, they're evil already. And I'm saying, I'm sure the left is going to run some ad about this. It's evil. To kill a baby is evil. Plain and simple. It's just evil. And for us to have these types of conversations to try to protect these babies, we shouldn't. I mean, come on. How are people going to look at us from 500 years from now or 1,000 years from now? Think about it. If you, from 1,000 years, and you look up the history and archives of us in this right now, where we're at, and if I saw some, I would think these are animals.
Well, imagine lawmakers. You brought up lawmakers. Imagine lawmakers who are voting these bills in, but they themselves have children. How can you go back and look at your own children knowing that you are okay with someone else murdering their child?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I could look at my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but they say it's a person's right. It's a person's right, and it's their choice. You make choices. In this situation, they make choices. They have opportunities to prevent this. In a lot of cases, it is not. It's free. So, and they know that.
Well, a person has a right and freedom to do drugs. A person has a right and freedom to get drunk.
It don't make it right.
There you go.
It don't make it right. You know, you got a right to drive somebody off a cliff in an Uber. It don't make it right. You understand what I'm saying? You know, hey, stop. You want to go over the cliff, you go over the cliff. Let me get out.
That's not a commercial for Uber, guys.
It's not a commercial for Uber. But, you know, if you, I don't know. It's just, it's insane. It's just insane, you know.
It's insane.
And then I've always talked about the black abortion rate is incredibly high. There are more babies being aborted than there are being born in black communities. And there was an article that came out in the Wall Street Journal some time ago, and it said that even though Roe v. Wade of 1973, which was over 50 years ago, was it over 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, over 50 years ago, even though it was, in their opinion, landmark legislation. I don't know how it's legislation because the Supreme Court doesn't make
it was a decision.
Yeah, it was a decision. That black Americans are for Planned Parenthood. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went from a population that would have been at 30% to I think we're at 17% of the national population. Clear lines of genocide, extinguishing a human race. That is what Planned Parenthood has done to the black community.
Started with Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger.
You know, and if you look at a national map, you'll notice on a national map, Planned Parenthood is planted in mostly low-income neighborhoods.
Yeah, why is that?
Being blacks, Hispanics.
Yeah, why is that? I really want to know that. And this is a question. This is a question I want to ask to some of those liberal folks out there, because we know we get some crazy people watching sometimes. I'm asking you a question. Why is Planned Parenthood predominantly in low-income minority neighborhoods? Why there? Because I don't see any Planned Parenthoods in Scottsdale.
I've never seen it in Rodale Drive.
I ain't seen none in that's where all the rich people live.
Yeah.
I don't see none there. I don't see any Planned Parenthoods in Mar-a-Lago.
No.
And that's a predominantly nothing but the president, you know. I'm talking about the community. We don't see them there.
No, you don't.
We see them in predominantly minority, low-income neighborhoods. So why is that? Why, are you trying to kill people and they're trying to kill?
They're targeting.
They are targeting.
It's targeting.
Yeah. Mr. Bill, we got 5 minutes left.
We got 5 minutes left, Mr. Beard. You know,
5.
and we know that, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are okay with abortion. There's a lot of people out there that will attack those of us who are pro-life. But I'll tell you today, there's nothing you can say or do will ever change my mind. And I'll tell you, you know, I would say about 100% of the pro-lifers that are out there, we are for life. You know, God said that our children are a heritage to Him, and created in His image.
Yep.
And when we look at that, we don't take that into account. I remember when the apostles were refusing for the kids to come to Jesus, and Jesus said, "Do not forbid the little ones to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of God."
He can recite that.
Jesus loved children. He tells us, adults, that in order for us to come into the kingdom, we have to come as a child.
Yeah, that's right.
As a child.
To be childlike.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you're walking around playing with Tonka toys, but it means.
No, I play with Legos.
Yeah, well, me too.
I just throw them on the floor so my kids can walk them at night.
Woo, man! I ain't
you don't
never
need a burglar alarm. Just throw Legos on the floor.
Hey, everybody! Welcome and thanks. Excuse me.
COVID.
Oh, COVID!
You are healed now.
I'm
brother.
healed. Hey, thanks for tuning in to the America First Brothers show. We appreciate you coming again. Again, remember to go down and smash that like button. And once you do that, you're a subscriber. And then what I want you to do is I want you to share this with your friends.
Yes. Share it with your friends. And again, we apologize. It's been a while because on the campaign trail, and it's picking up too. So we're trying to use different methods of reaching out to you. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be on podcast. We'll announce it so you know where to go.
So we're going to be doing both, though.
Yes.
We'll do when we're both here in town. We do it on this platform, and then when we're not, if one is here, or
we'll be podcasting.
We do a podcast.
Yes.
That's a call-in.
And we'll be bringing in other people, other legislators and stuff in the communities and in our districts to interview.
You know what? Are we able to have, like, people call in and ask us questions?
Yeah.
Can we do that, Mr. Beard?
Oh, if we're live.
Oh, if we're live. But they can, well, okay. We'll talk about that later because I think it's important for our viewers to be able to reach out to us and ask us questions. And maybe that can be part of the recording.
Yeah. Something to work on. Mr. Beard will get it together.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. God bless you. God bless our country. And let's make sure we keep America strong and continue to fight for the unborn.
Amen.